Hey, what's up, everybody? So today we're going to talk a little bit about the four worst archetypes of players in Hypixel SkyBlock: scammers, ratters, macroers, and cheaters. So let's start by talking about scammers. So first of all, we have to lay the foundation of understanding that SkyBlock, Hypixel, and Minecraft as a whole are technically oriented towards children. And therefore, even though there's a good amount of the player base that are adults, there's also a lot of 13 to 17-year-olds that play this game as well, even 12-year-olds, right? And those are the kinds of people that scammers tend to take advantage of. And that's what makes them extra scummy, is the fact that a majority of them rely on the fact that people don't know what, the value of something is, or, that something is a typical scam, or even, that you shouldn't verify in a Discord server because they're not familiar with how two-factor authentication codes work. There's so many things that scammers do that are so down low and despicable, but I think the biggest one of all is targeting children. And that alone makes you probably the worst kind of person that you can be, except for the fact that there is like one tier worse than that, which is ratters. People who rat other people, be it via Discord, via fake mods, via co-op scams, whatever it is, I genuinely think that that archetype of people is the true base scum of SkyBlock. There is absolutely nothing worse in my head than someone whose only method of benefiting is by taking from other people. And not just taking from other people. Ratters don't just get on your profile and take everything. They tend to get on your profile, void all your soulbound items, trade all your shit over, and then delete your fucking profile just to add a shitty cherry on top of the shit sundae. That's just beyond fucked up. It goes from something that's unkind and pretty, messed up to do, to like genuine evil, to desiring to ruin someone else's time, desiring to find a way to diminish someone else's enjoyment long after you're gone. That is genuine base scumbag nonsense. So yeah, I think out of the four categories that we're going to talk about today, ratters are by far the worst. They're the worst for the SkyBlock community. They're the worst in terms of the effect that they have, and they're the worst in terms of the type of people that they are. Okay, I've never met anyone who was a ratter that I didn't instantly distrust. And I would say for those listening, if you've been ratted before or fall for scams, one of the biggest things that you can do is immediately trust your gut. If something seems too good to be true, it probably is. If someone's in Dungeons Party Finder saying, yeah, man, I'll give you an M7 carry, just join my Discord and chat with me and my friends. Sounds pretty good, right? You don't have to do anything. Too good to be true. M7 carries are 35 mil. You really think someone's going to do it for free? Same thing with, let me join your co-op and build your garden. I'll do it for free and then I'll leave. Really? You think somebody's just going to join your co-op and do something out of goodwill, even though they have access to all of this stuff now? I don't fucking think so. So trust your gut, go with your brain. If something seems too good to be true, don't believe it. That's a section for scammers and ratters. Now we have to move on to sort of the other grouping of two, which is macroers and cheaters. So to start with macroers, there is something specifically wrong with macroers, that they would want to create and set up an account that solely exists to repeatedly farm the exact same thing and then funnel money into a singular account that will eventually also get banned. Right? I know that a lot of people have issue with the macro detection that the Hypixel team has, which makes perfect sense. I totally understand. But they are so on top of trade detection, it's not even funny. You can't do a damn auction, real world trade or bizarre manipulation without somebody at the Hypixel headquarters fucking catching on to that, banning and wiping you. I mean, hell, you can't even play with beach balls without getting banned and wiped. But yeah, so macroers are eventually going to get banned because the transfer of wealth is what ends up getting them. It's a lot like, guys like Al Capone, right? Even though they did all these different crimes, it was the money laundering and the failing to pay taxes that they managed to get around. And so it's the same thing with macroers. Yeah, you know what? Maybe they won't get banned on their macro accounts. Maybe they won't get banned on their main, but a majority of them will meet consequences when they attempt to transfer the wealth. However, that doesn't make it any less despicable, nonsensical bullshit to do. I mean, macroing, not only does it take away any sense of achievement that you should have in the game whatsoever. I mean, if your account is macroed, it is worthless to me. But then on top of that, it absolutely devastates the economy. It ruins the ability to make coins for good and honest players, right? When you've got tons and tons of people macroing in the garden, then the people who are actually playing in the garden are getting less coins because of that. And that is problematic. That is diminishing someone else's enjoyment of the game, someone else's play for your own benefit. And so I doubt you're listening to this if you're a macroer, but if you are, stop that shit, man. Play the game for real, have some fun, have some dignity. All right, on to the last point, cheaters. Cheaters. They exist in every single game. I mean, I've never played a game in my entire life that didn't have some version of cheating, right? Online games like Counter-Strike, other MMOs like Realm of the Mad God. There's not a lot of cheating in RuneScape, to be fair. They do a pretty good job at that. But even then, there are, macros and cheat plugins and inputs that you can use and things like that. Every game has its flavor of cheaters, especially online games, because people are always going to look to get an unfair advantage over the people around them, right? That's just to be expected. But the problem with cheating in Hypixel SkyBlock is that they set a standard for other people and their gameplay and their records that becomes unfair if you're not a cheater, right? It's not uncommon at all to run into a scenario where you're trying to join a party finder group and they're asking you to have a PB for a run that's so good that you would have had to either be with a world record run group, or you would have to be with a group of cheaters. That's completely unfair. That's immensely diminishing of the accomplishment that other people can make, the real progression that people need to have when it comes to dungeons, right? It isn't just you're going to get in there and you're going to be God and it's going to be super easy, right? It's going to take you 100 runs to get good. So let's, talk about how cheating sets this sort of bar that, like, if I'm brand new to dungeons and I'm not cheating, I'm going to be a little bit confused on how things work. It's going to take me a while to figure out all these different mechanics, all these different variations. But if you're a fucking cheater, all that stuff is practically automated for you. So you've got all these cheaters that are entering into dungeons with everything already set up perfectly for them without having to learn anything. And it sets a bad standard for the people who are new to dungeons and do have to learn things, but they don't have cheats. On top of that, giving yourself an unfair advantage in fucking Minecraft is just cringe. Like, seriously, play the game as it was intended to be played. And don't come at me pulling that, but there's better quality of life. There are tons of quality of life mods, paid and free, for SkyBlock that are not cheats. So I really don't see any reason why it would even be remotely acceptable at a base level to even consider cheating. That's pretty much all that I have for this topic today. Talking about the big four of shitters in SkyBlock. Let me know if you've had any experience with scammers, ratters, macroers, or cheaters, what that experience was, and what your thoughts are on what I talked about today. Thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.